Here's another question. I think that I get what this questioner is saying. He says, on the A theory of time, events go out of existence, and therefore we never really have an actually infinite number of events in the past, do we?
Well, this is a question that's often posed, and I have responded to this in the Question of the Week archive, so the reader might look there for more information on this. But basically, the point to be made is that in order to number things in the past, you don't have to have them all coexisting. For example, it's true that there have been something like, 42 or 43 American presidents, and they don't all have to coexist in order for us to know the truth that there have been this many U.S. presidents, or there have been a certain number of beetles that have crawled over the face of the earth in the history of life on this planet. That number could be counted. And similarly, if the universe never began to exist, if the series of events goes back forever, then the number of events in the past history of the universe can only be actually infinite. So these things don't have to coexist in order for us to count them.
It would still represent a succession, though, on the A theory of time, in that a moment comes into and then goes out of existence. That's an event.
Right, I agree. On a dynamic or A theory of time, these events are not on an ontological par with each other. That is to say, they don't all equally coexist. On the so-called B theory of time, or static view of time, there is no real difference, objectively speaking, between past, present, and future. All events are equally real. And on a B theory of time, it's very evident that if the universe is beginningless, then the number of past events is actually infinite. But if you add dynamic temporal becoming to the picture and an A theory of time, the number of past events is still the same. After all, they're the same events. So their number doesn't change. Just because you've introduced temporal becoming into the picture, it's still true that prior to today, there have elapsed an actually infinite number of events.
I often run into the objection, and it's more of an assertion, really, and that is that moments are not concrete. Moments aren't real.
Yes, I understand that, and that's why when I formulated the argument that I did so in terms of events rather than moments. I could have used temporal moments, but I chose to use events rather than moments because events are concrete changes that actually occur.
Wow, so that's a better word, better term, more clarifying term.
I think so. It avoids this possible objection. I always talk in terms of a temporal regress of events. A lot of these objections I had already in mind when I formulated the argument, so that a lot of them have actually already been met in the way they are, or anticipated. They've already been anticipated in the way that the argument has been formulated so as to make them inapplicable.